On the Tonight Show.
This is the 4936 podcast.
And Faithful, stand up, baby.
Faithful, where you at? Where you at? We're back at it. It's been a minute. My name is Biamechi. As always, I'm with JB. This is the 49365 Tonight Show. You already know what it is. What up, JB? How you doing?
What's poppin', B, man? What's good, man?
Man, I've just been it is very hard doing consistently putting out content. Shout out to all the great folks we have in this 49ers community putting out content. Now they have spaces on Twitter, which I hop in every now and then, get into the conversation there. Sometimes when I'm up late doing some work, I'll hop in. It's especially with everything that's been going on and what is developing into the craziest NFL offseason ever. There's always people in spaces, whether it's a 49ers topic or not. And even when there's just general NFL topics, Niners fans always make their way to it. Just as we travel, I think All Day tweeted the other day, we travel well with all these, road games and stuff. Why wouldn't we travel to all these other Twitter spaces and whatnot too? So it makes sense. But I've been tapping in on that platform for a minute, and honestly, I know a lot of people wonder, like, who's on? Is it JB? Is it B? It's usually me, or really it's always me in the spaces and things like that. So we had to get on the YouTube to give JB, his perspectives on things. People don't know what your thoughts are on everything that's going on, man. So we're going to get right into it. But how are you doing, man? What's up with you? The reason why we haven't been doing podcasts is really because I've been busy. It hasn't been his fault. It's been my fault. I think the last time we did an episode, I was in London. So been traveling, been moving around, and it's just been crazy. All good, but it's been crazy. But what's up with you, man? How you been? How's the fam? Mental health check-in.
Oh, man, I'm cooling, bro. Just cooling with the fam. You know how it go, man. Just doing that, doing my thing, man. So, we cooling, doing what we do. And yeah, man, we here though. You feel me?
Well, we here, like I said, this is probably the craziest NFL offseason. No, not probably. This is the craziest NFL offseason ever. And the 49ers aren't really too much involved. Let's start there. Any of the moves so far, like real quick before we dive right into the 49ers, any moves so far that, raise your eyebrows a little bit? There's been a lot of crazy trades from Russell Wilson to Deshaun Watson to Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams. I mean, these are mega stars in the game. Tyreek Hill now the highest paid wide receiver after Devontae Adams was for about 5 days. Deshaun Watson, the highest paid quarterback, highest paid player in NFL history by $80 million guaranteed, is my understanding. That's how much he cleared the previous, which was Aaron Rodgers. These are crazy situations happening. You know what I mean? Like trades all over the place, and Baker Mayfield and Jimmy Garoppolo are left, as Kyle Shanahan would say, standing at the altar. Anything that has stood out to you from this crazy NFL offseason? Like, I know it's been a lot going on since the last time we tapped in. I just wanted to give you opportunity to speak on it.
Shit, bro. Let me see. Crazy. I mean, they like you just kind of named it all, man. Like all this shit is like them are some big trades. So, I mean, it's a lot. It's like the NBA kind of. You feel me? Like people moving around. You got all these new coaches. Mike McDaniel's making moves. So I mean, he pretty much said it all, bro.
I mean, it's going to be exciting. I'm definitely going to have my eye on the Miami Dolphins. Raheem Mostert, Tyreek Hill, Waddle, Gesicki. They got some weapons over there. So we'll see if Tua can't do it, then hey, it's all good. There's a lot of quarterbacks in next year's draft. There's going to be some free agents. I mean, it seems like from this offseason, it's been too many quarterbacks, so to speak. So, they'll be fine. They'll get somebody, and they have a good team around, whoever that will be, if it's not Tua. But that's a team I'm watching. The Cincinnati Bengals definitely increased their roster, their offensive line. That's a team, you got to watch. There's just so many dope storylines in the NFL right now, and just wide receivers in general. I think that's one of the themes. I think that's one of the takeaways from this new NFL is the value of wide receivers. And we have a lot of teams, the Packers, the Chiefs trading away these guys, the Rams trading for wide receivers. And it's really a position that has taken over more value, I think, now than ever. You look at the Super Bowl, you got a guy like Cooper Kupp, you got a guy like Jamar Chase, along with the addition of those other star receivers, OBJ playing at an MVP level before he got hurt. Higgins, all the guys they got on that side, Boyd, etc. So, wide receivers becoming a real priority position, and looking at the contracts and the trades, not just the contracts, like let alone the contracts. I think Tyreek Hill is $70+ million after all of his off the field issues, all those sort of things, which is also the case for Deshaun Watson. Like I said, the highest football player in NFL history overall. But when you look at these wide receivers, it's not just the contracts, it's how much capital people have traded for, right? So like, the amount of picks that are going for these guys is crazy. But at the same time, the NFL is changing, so it's not that crazy. And one question that's relevant to us that's come up from these recent trades of Davante Adams and Tyreek Hill is, would you consider trading Deebo Samuel? Because it's definitely a question that is brought up as he's in contract negotiations. He even tweeted a few things today, after Tyreek Hill got his contract, like the price just went up. The price just went up. Deebo is going to cost $25 million at least. He's going to cost $25 million a year at least. Them is just the facts. And when you consider that, would you even bring up the idea, like what is your reaction when you hear like the 49ers should consider trading Deebo if they got offered for a first round pick, a second round pick, and maybe a little bit more?
Man, I mean, I guess in the words of Kyle Shanahan, like, you always gonna listen to everything. Or I don't know if Chip Kelly said that or Shanahan said that, one of them. But anyways, I mean, of course you're gonna listen to something, but at the end of the day, like I don't see us trading Deebo, and like I just feel like that's like he's a part of our identity. He's like one of the best. Deebo is Deebo. Like, what we gonna trade Deebo to get? What we got a blue chip player in Deebo. Like, that's like the Rams saying, let's trade Aaron Donald away. Like, yeah, I mean, I guess if you could get 10 All-Stars or 10 Pro Bowlers, then you would do it. But why would you trade? That's arguably our best player.
Yeah, I agree with that sentiment. Like, you got to pay the guy. You've developed the guy. I think a part of the free agency frenzy, or our lack thereof, and like that SpongeBob meme of Squidward, looking outside of his house while, SpongeBob and what's his name are like dancing around. If you know the meme I'm talking about, tap in. But, it's kind of like that with this whole free agency period. And, on one hand for us, we have drafted well enough to have these homegrown players in Fred Warner, George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, Nick Bosa, etc. And when you have guys that are, top 5 at their position like that, that's a good thing. You want to sign your guys. You don't have to go out and get this player in free agency or get that player in free agency, because like you said, they're on your team. So you have to take advantage of that. And I am a big proponent of that. I think you have to listen, like to the Chip Kelly quote that you just mentioned, or Kyle Shanahan, whoever it was. One of those coaches. We're getting the Kelly and Shanahan mixed up. I don't know if that's a good thing. But, you have to listen if it's just a crazy offer. But I don't think Deebo, as we've seen from, I feel like, I don't know. I just feel like our players aren't looked at in the league like other players are, if that makes sense. I feel like the 49ers in general are undervalued when I look at like national media and how people generally talk about players on our team and whatnot. I feel like the Cowboys are a team where people are always overrated, right? Because they just always get talked about, those sort of things. I feel like our players are in general kind of underrated. So, Nick Bosa, no, comeback player of the year votes, no all pro selections, just things like that. I'm not saying he just deserves it, but, no consideration at all. It's just kind of interesting. Maybe it's a West Coast bias. There's always that whole East Coast, West Coast bias thing going on. So maybe that's what it is. But I feel like Deebo isn't looked at as like a Tyreek Hill. He's not looked at as like a Davante Adams, even a Cooper Kupp. I feel like Deebo is looked at as a gadget player. He's looked at as a really good player. I think he has people's respect, but it's like Aaron Donald said, like, who? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if people really it's a little bit of a Draymond Green Warriors thing with Deebo for me, because I feel like he's more valuable to us than he would be necessarily to other teams based on the way that we've used him and whatnot. But a big question with that is, are we going to use him the same way when Trey is the quarterback, right? And we can get to that. We're definitely gonna get into that conversation. But is our offense going to change when Trey is the quarterback? Because if so, does that open you up to trading Debo even more? Because are we not going to rely him in all that gadget sense? But I'm not a fan of that. But it just poses the question to get me thinking about how things are going to change, which is why it's so important that we do transition over to Trey Lance. One of the big reasons is because we need to see how things are going to look like. We need to see where he's at. We need to put around him, how the offense needs to evolve and change. We can only make those decisions for the future if we're able to see him next year playing, which is a huge reason why, in my opinion, Jimmy G needs to find a different team or restructure his contract at the very least. But we can get to that topic. Otherwise, in terms of what's going on in the NFL, man, like I said, the wide receiver evolution, the crazy trades, and I do feel like we can now transition to talking about how all this unfolded for the Niners and how basically this musical chairs and Jimmy G still on the team, like how this situation even happened. I definitely want to get your thoughts in terms of if this is something that surprises you, if this is something that just how you feel about it in general. But the last time that we did talk, and the previous times that we have had episodes, I did bring up this scenario, and I did bring up the scenario that, what if there is a case in which Jimmy G, he doesn't really have any value to other teams? Like, what if the scenario in which we're not able to get a trade that we want for him? And I always emphasize that because people on 49ers Twitter especially get so riled up about this topic. They have the whole season, they have the whole past few years about Jimmy G, anything with Jimmy G. You know how it goes. But the whole thing is, it's not saying that Jimmy G is a bad quarterback. It's not saying that, he's not one of the he couldn't be one of the starting quarterbacks in the NFL. It's saying that he's coming off, he's, so injury prone. You look at like the Colts right now, Matt Ryan, and they've had Phillip Rivers recently in the past few years. Those quarterbacks missed like a combined 4 games, I think, in their career. That's what John Middlecoff was saying. I think they missed like a combined 4 games in their career. Like, Jimmy G misses games all the time. Like, he just coming off of surgery right now, right? That's the issue. And another issue is his contract, $27 million. Like, it's not saying that Jimmy G isn't a starting quarterback. He's not good, but is he $27 million good? And another aspect of it too is like, he has this mojo of winning around him, right? Well, I don't know if every team just is in a situation where they're just absolutely trying to win. Now, I know coaches do, GMs do, I get it. But I guess the point I'm making is, like, if you're a team like the Texans, for example, like, you got a guy like Davis Mills. Maybe Jimmy G's like just, better right now, but it's like, why would you not have a quarterback that maybe is a little less work, but has more potential, has more promise, is way cheaper, and has the potential to grow into something, right? Why would you take a quarterback that's maybe slightly better and can, maybe help you win one more game this year when that's not even on the trajectory of what your team's trying to do? So there's all those factors that I saw coming from a mile away with this whole Jimmy G situation. And then you can blame it on bad luck, the way that things ended up how they did with, Deshaun Watson getting traded and kind of holding things up, Russell Wilson being traded, Aaron Rodgers situation holding things up, Tom Brady coming back, yada, 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 yada. However you want to cut it. A lot of crazy things happened this offseason. I get it. But the fact remains, Jimmy G's still on the team, didn't get traded. And, it's a very unfortunate thing, as I would love to spend that money. But what are your thoughts on Jimmy G still being on the roster? Your whole idea of how this whole situation played out. Could we have done anything different? Did we overplay our hand? What do you say?
Did he? I mean, yeah, I don't know, man. I just think that, man, I think, it's like in times like this, I just say, and he's not always right. He's definitely not always right, but in times like this, I just gotta be like, in Kyle we trust. And it's just like I don't know if it's the we didn't get what we wanted. Like, I don't know if they was like, no, we need a first round, whatever. But I guess a theory that I go back to where I'm like, all right, is if it's like, if we do bring him back, because he still could get traded. Like, that's not out the door. But yeah, it's like, it just isn't looking promising, I guess, right now. But if he's on the roster next year, it's like, I don't look at that as a bad thing. I mean, I know people going, it'll be a bad thing if we lose. It would be a bad thing if we lose, but I just look at it like I mean, Jimmy G and Trey Lance, like to me, those are two good quarterbacks, and who's unhappy and who's whatever. And then I don't know who's unhappy. I don't know how unhappy Jimmy is. I don't know how unhappy Trey is. I literally just don't know. So I'm just saying, like, if it's like those are two good quarterbacks, and we know how this thing goes. I think, man, I made a video about it one time, man, and you said you wasn't even going to make a response to it, and I made a video saying, like, they're two, like, if Trey beats out Jimmy, he could be the backup, and I know that sounds crazy, but it's just like, I mean, 27 million is a lot, but it's not a lot in comparison to what these other people is making. Like that nowadays, that's kind of, I mean, 27 million, that's kind of like wide receiver money now.
Top, yeah. I mean, Tyreek Hill is getting paid, I think, 27. That's, the best in the league. So that's a great transition in comparison, because my whole thing is like that money could be spent elsewhere. And that's a good transition to it. Your point is like, it's a lot of money, but there's other guys making more money, and it is what it is. Like, I'm not tripping off of him making money. We have the money we can afford it. I think that's that's a fair point. I guess like my issue with it is not like we're gonna suck because of it, or it's suffocating our cap so much where we can't do this and that, because I get it, future years, it doesn't affect the Bosa and the Debo money. Like I get all those things. My whole thing though is that it is 27 million for this year, and you could do other things with that money. Even if you go back to even the Buckner trade and just other decisions, when you really think about it, how they came down to money, and like the how squeezed we were for that. And it's like, now you have 27 million Jimmy G competing for the job, and you're saying potentially might be the backup and not even playing. Let's say Trey Lance plays well all year, then it's basically presuming that he's not even going to play the whole year, right? And unless there's an injury, put that caveat out there. And Trey Lance did get hurt last year, and obviously Jimmy did. So, I mean, I hear you on that, but I just think that the money could be used elsewhere. It's not going to hamper the team to like where like, oh, it's going to destroy us and we can't do anything. We've already made moves. We made solid additions. We've been smart with money. I get all those things. It's just, to me, we were very close to getting to the Super Bowl last year. And you would think that, like, I get it. Run it back, fill up different holes, different issues we had, special teams, corner, etc. But you could also get yourself that little bit of an edge by utilizing that money in another facet. There's plenty of different routes we can go. Yes, we have the draft upcoming. There's plenty that we're going to do there. Yes, there's other moves, small moves to be made here and there. But I really think that you could utilize that money to do something for another position. And not only that, but it's also the energy, the battle, the culture, the environment of having Jimmy still around when trying to bring in Trey. The most thing you can compare it to is like a Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers situation. And I don't really remember, in terms of the locker room, who had what, all these sort of things, like how exactly it was. I know, it was the whole Brett Favre retiring and then unretiring, and like that whole thing was a dramatic situation. But I don't really recall exactly how it was. There's not really a comparison in the modern NFL for this situation. It's unique, to say the least. And I don't like it. I just don't like it. I would rather Teddy Bridgewater sign with the Miami Dolphins. I said even last year. I remember, if you remember from our episodes previously, like I was saying, Teddy Bridgewater is the type of guy who I would love as a backup quarterback, who could fill in and, is competitive, started in the league before, can win you games. And he's much cheaper than Jimmy. And he has no connection to Kittle, the team, all these sort of things. There's no emotional tie there. Like, I don't look at that as a positive. I look at that as a negative. I know we were this close last year, but yeah, we were this close and we didn't get it done. I don't look at it as like we were this close and let's do it again. That's just my thing, man. That's just my personal opinion. I'm not attacking you. This is a civil conversation. I know if we get on Twitter Spaces, it'd be a lot more, turned up than this. But I understand. I think what you're saying. But to me, I feel like we can use. I guess
all I'm saying is this: like it's just like I feel you on the having Trey like be the person, and but I guess on the other side, like if Jimmy were to stay, it's like I just simplify it down to like if you got two quarterbacks. Like I just think about our quarterbacks rooms in the past, and it's like you know, CJ Beathard, Nick Mullins, Blaine Gabbert, whoever it is. It's like if you have two solid quarterbacks, like I know they could be, you know, it's the locker room thing, but
Do you know who the backup quarterback on the Bengals was last year?
Josh Johnson, or for some time, but no, I don't know. I get what you're saying, but my point
the
is,
Rams, or you know,
no,
like,
I hear you. I hear you.
Quarterback really shouldn't even be playing. Like to pay him
But he
20
do,
million.
but look what happened with Trey this year. He got hurt. I'm just saying, like, look what happened. Like, like a lot of these quarterbacks get hurt.
Yeah, I mean, Colt McCoy came in and won some games for you. Yeah, Colt McCoy came in and won some games against we know that for a fact. Colt McCoy came in and won some games. You know,
Right.
like that is a backup quarterback on a Teddy Bridgewater sort of level that can come and spill you a game or two if needed. That's the job of a backup quarterback. You don't need a starter for the past 3 years in the NFL, a guy who's you don't need that as your backup quarterback, especially when that person has emotional ties to all the players and like he's the one who, like Armstead said, you know, helped make us winners again. That is that's an energy that you would think is a positive thing. I get it. Like he's been around there. He's been one of the guys, but you need to evolve. We can't just keep doing the same thing. We've already invested so much in Trey. Let's give him the keys and move forward.
Stephen Joe, bro.
Say it again. Stephen Joe.
Stephen Joe. They had for years.
Yeah, I mean, so Stephen Joe. Okay, so you're saying, okay.
I guess I'm just saying, like, I guess my point is this. Like, first of all, we're coming to the conclusion that he's not gonna go. We're coming to the conclusion like he's like it's over. They messed up it. He's not gonna go. So, first of all, like we have to see if that even is the way it goes. And second of all, like,
where do you think he will be traded, or he could be traded?
I mean, bro, anything can happen. Like anything can happen. Like, I mean, the Steelers, who they got?
Trubisky.
Okay, well, I'm just saying anything. I'm just saying, like, the way things shake out, there could be a person who has a quarterback. Like, who would have thought Matt Ryan would be on the Colts? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just kind of like I'm just saying, like before, like it's my point is a lot of things can happen. But like, this is what I'm saying. Like, we coming to the conclusion that he's not being traded. Okay, that may be true. He may not be traded, but that still could happen. And let's say we do bring him back, and that's the decision that they go with. Then I'm gonna have to look at that and be like, all right, you have two good quarterbacks. Like I'm gonna look at that in that way. And if we start losing and they suck, then it was a bad decision. But it's just like, man, and Kyle, and I'm gonna just have to put this up in Kyle. And Kyle, I trust. Ain't nobody want to see the Niners do as well as he does. So, and he spends a lot of hours. I mean, you know, I guess you know what I'm saying, bro. It's in Kyle. I trust. He's not always right, but we went to an NFC ship this past year. We went to the Super Bowl the year before, 2020. Yeah.
I think, see, like philosophically, you know, this is just my observation from the way that we're different, right? I always talk about process versus results because I feel like I'm more of a process person and you're more of a results person in terms of like what you just said right now about we'll see how the season shakes out.
I'm gonna say that because I was like, all right, as I'm saying this, I know he's gonna bring it up.
Well, like, that's just how I look at things. It's like I feel like my point in that comment is, and I'm just pointing out one thing from what you said, but like my point in that is like yeah, I mean, you can say like, okay, we'll see how the season goes. Let's see how many games we win. Let's see like what happens. We'll have
that's what it's about to me. It's about winning.
Yes, no, I hear what you're saying, but I'm just saying the way I look at these sort of things, these conversations, the game, the team, I'm looking at like what do I think is the best process wise in terms of like I'm not going to evaluate it. I have to evaluate it first on what the decision is. The results are the results. Things happen. Guys get injured. Like that's a part of the risk. That's a part of the decision. But like I'm not setting up for like, oh well, what if like you're going to have two quarterbacks?
All right, I get it. And okay, let me just all right. So when you're saying that, you don't believe that Kyle Shanahan?
No, that's the other part. That's the other
process. Like values a process that he created a process for how he views the situation. You know, I'm just saying like that he has a process.
That's the other part that you said. Like basically, like in Shanahan, I trust. I think those are your exact words. And it's like and you mentioned like, oh, we went to the NFC Championship game last year. You know, he's been able to, do these things so far. Just to be clear, like, I'm a diehard 49ers fan. Like, this is like, we do it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's life. It's a lifestyle, man. It's a lifestyle. Like Jimmy G said, the quarterback's a lifestyle. Like this Niners shit is a lifestyle, man. So like, whatever happens, like I'm riding with the team. You know what I'm saying? Like, just to be clear, like I'm riding with the team. Like whatever happens, we don't have any actual control over anything that goes on. I'm just sitting here as a fan saying, like, me wanting to win a championship, and I know Shanahan wants to win as much as I do. It doesn't mean that like, oh, you think you're smarter than Shanahan, or you think this is just how I see things versus I think how he sees things. In terms of, I think that yes, we went to the NFC Championship game last year. Like I said about the whole free agency and Jimmy G thing, like I think if we put that money elsewhere to make a more aggressive move to build out our roster in another area, that would better serve us to getting over that hump and winning a Super Bowl. I think that as a philosophy, you want to do everything that you can to build around your rookie contract quarterback. And I feel that if we have a backup quarterback that's being paid $27 million, that's going to potentially divide the locker room and have guys that he's potentially going to stunt his growth. It could be a good thing, right? It could be an Aaron Rodgers situation where he sits for 2 years, ends up being it could be a good thing. I'm just saying from my perspective, in terms of what I want, I don't think that that's the route to go. I feel like he's sat a year already, which is 1 year more than I wanted him to sit from the beginning. If you go back to last year, and now potentially doing it again, and even like, let's say he doesn't sit. Let's say Jimmy comes back and Trey starts. That's even more idiotic to me because, it's like, why are you having a $27 million quarterback on your roster as a backup? You can argue that you give Trey a moral victory by being able to beat out Jimmy and win over the locker room and win the team over. That's an argument you could also make, but I just feel like it's an argument that's not worth $27 million, and we'll never be able to tell the difference. Like, we'll never be able to know, did sitting Trey last year help him this year or not? We won't be able to know. If he comes out killing this year, there's going to be people that say, oh, he should have played last year. Maybe we win on the Super Bowl. There's going to be people saying that, no, he need that time because now look how good he is. You're never going to really know the answers to these things. It's just my opinion that I feel like Jimmy G should not be on the team for the reasons that I've outlined. I know you feel the other way, and that's fine. But I just feel like because I feel differently doesn't mean I don't believe in Shanahan. Doesn't mean I don't believe in the team. I just want to be clear about that.
I ain't even saying like I want Jimmy to stay. I'm not saying that. Like, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that if we go that route, then like that's how I'm gonna feel. Like, you feel me?
The question is though, what is your opinion? Because I understand like if we go that route, then you don't think it's the worst thing in the world.
The whole team, bro. We've been wanting to see Trey Lance out there. Like,
no, I'm saying, what do you think about Jimmy? Like, do you like what do you think about the situation so far? Because I get you're riding with this wherever we go, and you don't think it's the worst thing in the world if he does come back. In Shanahan, we trust all those sort of things. But asking you now today, like if you were in that GM seat,
I'm saying if I was in that GM seat, I would be trying to move him. I mean, and
let's say you can't. Let's say the best thing you can get is a 6th round pick from Carolina for Jimmy G.
But then that's what I'm saying. Then I gotta see what Shanahan talking about, and I gotta see, like, I don't know how they really feel about, like, is it we like just the Trey Lance, like, what do they know that we don't know? Like, they might really love him. They might be hella concerned. Like, it could be it's like, we don't, they say one thing. It's just like, I don't really know how they feel about, I don't know where Trey is in their eyes, but they don't even know 100% because we ain't seen him out there.
Yeah. And it's tough to like, I don't even know if they know, you know what I'm saying? Like and it's like, that's kind of like, it's a part of the game. You draft a guy you never know and stuff like that, but it's just kind of unfortunate because you put these expectations, like you could have even had a hard reset if you start Trey last year, even if you struggled and those sort of things. You eliminate some of those expectations. It's just more of a fresh restart. You look at all these other quarterbacks other than Mac Jones who started, like, they took their lumps. They didn't play spectacular by any means, but it's like they're getting their reps in. They're getting their opportunities to like grow and all those sort of things. I'm not saying that that's like the best way to do it, but I'm just making the point that, the bed that we've laid is this situation right now where it's like, we don't even know. And it's like to me, I always think I brought this up on this podcast before. I like sayings. I'm a very optimistic, positive, I'll take a corny saying here and there. And I'll never forget when Peyton Manning went to the Broncos. you know, he said they were asking him like, oh, why didn't you go to the Titans or the Niners or these other teams? He was like, well, I don't know if this is going to be the right decision, but I'm going to make it the right decision by how I act, by how I choose to go about it. And I think about that, about this whole Trey Lance situation. You trade up all these draft picks to get him, you make that the right decision. There's to me like whatever. And if you think that having Jimmy on the team is best for Trey Lance, then by all means do that. That if that's your thinking. But if your thinking is like, no, we have to win next year, we have to like, you have to do whatever puts Trey in the best position to give us the long-term chance to really win first, to compete for a Super Bowl. To me, that's my opinion. And I get it. All these guys want to win. You know, it's always short-term versus long-term. These coaches seem to be more short-term focused because, you know, their job's on the line, their legacy's on the line, all those sort of things. I get that. But I just feel like as a GM, as a somebody who's managing the team, organizing the team, it is about number 5. You know, I got 5 on it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what it's about. That's what it's about right now. This is the Trey era. Like, it's all about investing in whatever's going to make him successful. And I would think that $27 million that Jimmy has, and again, I get it. Like, it's not, you know, making drastic changes with our free agency and stuff like that. But like, it's $27 million at the end of the day. Like, there's something you could do with that. You know what I mean? And let alone $27 million, it's the energy of Jimmy, the like Armstead said, he made us winner again. It's hard to have him as your backup quarterback. You don't want your backup quarterback to be somebody who's already won for you. Jimmy G's a great guy in the locker room. He's the ideal, you know what I'm saying? He's a great guy in the locker room. But innately, there's going to be questions to all the players, to all the, you know, the coaches every week about Trey versus Jimmy. Like, it's just going to come with the territory because of how much he's paid and what he's done for the team so far. It's not even his fault. That's just how it is. So because of that, again, I'm not hating on Jimmy or like, it's just because of the situation. I just feel like I would get away from that. But I hear the other side too. I'm not like, you know, out here, you know, getting at you or any 49er fan who thinks otherwise and whatnot. I understand the other side of the perspective. I feel like I have a good understanding of what you're saying and what other fans say. But I
got a question, bro.
Yeah.
Why you couldn't answer me when I made that video?
I don't remember the full context of it, but like I said, I'm basically working like 2 jobs right now. Trying to plan, you know, a wedding with my fiance. It's a lot going on in my life. I always give the caveat that I don't have any kids right now. And I always tip my cap to those of y'all who have kids, especially those who have 4 kids, because me complaining about time and time constraints, I'm sure pales in comparison to what you go through with the scheduling and the school and all this. And like, I just couldn't imagine having all those kids as a responsibility. And I don't have that. But at the same time, I'm doing a lot of work right now, like a lot of big projects I'm working on. And I believe at the time that you sent that message, I was just like, you see how I'm rocking right now, man. I got the hat on, but I'm looking like I'm on my caveman hype. You know, I need to get a haircut. I need to, you know, get myself together. I was like, man, I don't want to go on camera right now. So I just did the cop out answer, like, man, Jimmy G, yada yada. What exactly was the question again? Refresh my memory.
It was the backup question. You feel me? It was just like I don't remember, bro.
But yeah, I have been active, like I said, in these spaces. It's been crazy in spaces. Like it's honestly the energy of it's kind of shifting, to be quite honest with you. And you know, I gotta be selective about what spaces I go into, because sometimes you hop in and it's just like profanity, motherfuckers, you know, just shitting on people and being hella disrespectful. And you know, I'm not, you know, I'm positive energy and good vibes, man. So I have to see myself out of those rooms. But if it's respectful, you know what I'm saying, debate, passionate at times, I get that, then I'm all with it. Actually, on spaces this week, right? Vish had a space. It was like till 3 a.m. or something like that, something crazy like that. This past week, it wasn't last night, but it was the night before, I think. And you know, we started talking about like all types of stuff, high school football, etc. Man, they started talking about you know, JB in high school, man. They started talking about the old high school Odell JB. You know what I'm saying? Like, they were going back to, you know, how many of y'all played football, yada yada yada, all these things. I was like, hold on, man. Like, JB ain't here in these spaces, but I gotta let y'all know, man. He was nice. Like,
is that right?
Some of y'all know, but some of y'all don't know. He was nice. So yeah, it goes down in the spaces, man. Definitely got to tap into that a little bit more. I got to host my own upcoming, so I can set the energy of that I want to see in spaces. But yeah, man. They were talking. Vish was talking about your videos. He was like, "Oh yeah, JB, you don't want to be posting the videos? Those are dope." So everybody likes the videos, man. That's definitely your thing. But anyways, man, I don't know if there's anything on this Jimmy G topic or anything else. What do you think about some of the other free agency moves that we've made, specifically in terms of letting go DJ Jones, letting go Laken Tomlinson? Do you have any thoughts on those decisions?
Man, I wish we would have kept DJ. I like DJ. I like Lincoln. I wish we would have kept.
By the way, did you get a chance to see any of Kinlaw's interview today with Brad, SF Niners?
I did not.
Man, it was dope. It was dope. Shout out to Brad. Definitely got to repost that or put the link in. I think I did retweet it earlier. You said what?
What Kinlaw was talking about?
Man, he was just Brad was asking. Brad was a really good interview. You know what I'm saying? He was asking him about some of the X and O's aspects of playing on the line, specifically defensive tackle. And Kinlaw, because he was basically saying, like, we see all the physical things, but what's the game prep? What's the all the ins and outs? And again, you guys should check it out. Make sure you tap in with Brad, watch the whole thing. But basically, the Cliff Notes version is Kinlaw was saying that, on one hand, it's a lot of work because he was, he's young in this game still. He came playing defensive line when he was in 10th grade. And, from there, even going to college, he started off on the outside, which is like a lot more free and a lot more just like you can kind of just go. Whereas when you're in the inside, you got to really be technical and understand where the play is going, all these sort of things. Because, somebody could chip you here and do this there. And like you be on your back and like you won't even know it. Right. So he was like, you got to understand the technical aspects and really like he's still learning all these various aspects of the game. And he said he always is tapping into Armstead, asking him questions because Armstead like knows where the play is going before the play starts. He was just talking about how cerebral Armstead is. And so he's just trying to learn from that. But on the other hand, he was saying, you gotta just play though. At the same time, you can't be over. He's like, for me specifically, I can't, get in my head about all these things. I have to just go out there and be free and play. You know what I'm saying? So, we're just talking about things like that. So it was interesting to, see his perspective, but he says he's healthy. The main update that 49ers fans have definitely been tapped into. He says he's healthy. And I hear you with DJ Jones. DJ Jones was a player, man. Like I just feel like DJ Jones, he did more. He was kind of like a kill two birds with one stone because he came in those games to kind of stuff the run, but he was a good pass rusher as well. You know what I'm saying? Like he kind of was a Swiss Army knife on the defensive tackle side of things and a high motor guy. He's just one of them guys. Like you feel like if he's a depth player on your team, then you got a good ass team. You know what I'm saying? And but at the same time, we did draft Kinlaw with the first round draft pick. And, you got to see what you got with that. Aaron Banks is a lot more of a question mark, in terms of like, is he going to play? Is he good? Is there a weight issue? We have no idea. Right. So that one is a little bit more iffy, but offensive line, I really try to stay away from like as much as I can. I would feel great about getting some free agents. And my whole philosophy with offensive line is that it seems like that has more bust in terms of like college prospects than other positions. I mean, there's bust at every position, but they always say like offensive line is a skill, is a position that's the quality of it generally is going down because the defensive ends are so athletic. The defensive people on the defensive line are just so athletic these days, right? And so to me, I would love to attack offensive line in free agency and really not play around with that because you got to protect Trey. That's one of the ways to ensure his success. We have the weapons. We just need to protect them. And money-wise, I would love to see us invest in that in free agency. But I'm fine with letting Lincoln walk. I just would prefer to get like another center in. If I don't know if Mac is coming back, you should talk to your old college teammates, see if you can get some insider info. But yeah, I don't know if Mac's coming back. I don't know, what's going on in terms of Banks and his development. We have a lot of depth pieces there, so I don't know if those guys can step up. But I'm a little concerned about the offensive line. I'm not going to lie, but I'm not mad about letting Lincoln go. And I'm not mad even about letting DJ go because we got Kinlaw. So we have to invest in that, though, and we can't address everything in the draft. So it'll be interesting to see.
Man, you ain't lying, bro. On the real.
Yeah.
I feel you, man.
Yeah, but other than those positions, we have two wards in our defensive backfield now, you know what I'm saying? And, the ward that we got from Kansas City, Charvarius, I'm not going to act like I just knew who he was, had his film and everything. I do like the fact that he was an undrafted guy as well, similar to Mosley. And, they're just guys who've played solid in this league. I feel like Mosley's price definitely went up because Mosley's a solid corner at the end of the day. Like, we'll see how healthy he can be this year because I feel like that's going to determine his value moving forward. But Mosley's a guy I would love to extend. There's not a lot of good corners in the league, man. Like, I mean, he's a solid corner. He just is. So if he can stay healthy, like, I definitely would want to extend Mosley this season. But, we'll see what Travarius can do. It seems like I'm not, and as a DB yourself, maybe you could break down a little bit more for me, but to me, like, I just don't know the direction that we're going with the defense in terms of like zone versus man. It seems like from what I can see and from what people say, Charvarius was more of a man. It seems like he's better in man than he is in zone. That's a generalization. I haven't broke down all his film and everything, but that just seems like what the people are saying about it, right? And it's like, I'm not sure. Does that mean we're going to like more of a man look? And also, what does it mean for the nickel position? Obviously, K'Waun's not coming back. So is Mosley going to come in and we're going to bring in Ambry on those nickel packages? Like, so that's something that's been floated out there. We also have, corners that, we have a Demo. Is he somebody that we're prepping for that nickel spot? I'm not 100% sure, but it remains to be seen. We have some question marks there. It doesn't mean like it's the end of the world. We got some good guys there, but yeah, that's something that we're gonna have to monitor, like what the direction of the defensive backfield is, and specifically with Tart. Are we bringing back Tart? It seems like we're probably not with some of the moves that we made, but maybe he hasn't been signed, and there's a lot of safeties out there. So maybe Tart's gonna get slotted all the way to the end. He's gonna have a really affordable deal, and if that's the case, then why not bring him back? So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see, but I will say, in terms of like not reinvesting in guys that have been injured, Jason Verrett, I would much rather have Mostert on our team than Jason Verrett, just because. And I like Jason Verrett. I rock with Jason Verrett, but I feel like if he's going to be a depth piece, you would want ideally those depth corners to have special teams value as well. Like somebody like a Dante Johnson has, and he's been relatively healthy, to be honest. I mean, like, of course, Verrett's a better corner than Dante Johnson, but Dante Johnson has been more valuable because he can do more things if they're going to be in a depth role. Or you want some just young guys out there, like some corners that we're going to draft that can play on special teams. To me, like, that's just a part of the game. That's just kind of crucial to it. So there's that aspect for Verrett. And then also with Mostert, like, he just adds an element of speed, this breakaway speed. Like, when you combine it with Trey Lance and you think about that and how that could look and the opportunities in our offense. And yes, he's been injured, but like, he has that aspect of the game that there's no player that has that breakaway speed like Mostert. It's just easy for him when he has it going. And he only had 2 carries last year, I want to say. So it's like he was out all last year, to recover. Same thing with Verrett, honestly. But Verrett's had so many injuries. It's, and different injuries, like, leg injuries and whatnot consistently. So I would have liked to see us, especially for $3 million a year, man, like I really would have liked to, and I know it's a little bit more because, Florida, no income tax, all that situation. So I'm sure, like, it's not apples to oranges, but still, or apples to apples, I should say. But still, I would have loved to see us re-sign Mostert. But now he's on Miami. I'll definitely watch out for that team. But yeah, I'm not looking. I don't think we're going to sign Verrett. I wouldn't be mad at it, but I don't necessarily want us to sign Verrett because I think we need versatility there. So that's my thoughts on the guys that, are out there in free agency that aren't going to be coming back to the team or potentially not coming back to the team. But there's some other guys still out there in free agency, man. There's some offensive linemen. There's guys that are pipe dreams like Gilmore. I don't think it's necessarily necessary anymore now that we've made a corner signing. But if you got 27 million off the books, maybe we can structure some things in a certain way where it's not going to hurt us in the future, but we could add to our team and increase our chances of going for a championship run right now and making the few moves that it's going to take to really solidify ourselves and get over that hump. So it'll be interesting to see. And we got Ray McCloud. It's interesting because he seems like he's had a little bit of a fumbling issue, which I just don't know how that's going to completely jive with Shanahan. But at the same time, the dude can break tackles. He's, elusive with it. So I don't know. It's not just special teams move. I definitely think we're going to use him in the offense, I think. But we'll see what element he can bring to our team. If what that means for the draft, I don't think we'll be able to draft a wide receiver. Definitely not high because there's a lot of wide receiver needy teams now in the Packers, the Chiefs, the Ravens. There's plenty of teams that are going to need to look to get wide receivers. The Colts, there's plenty of teams that are going to be looking to surround their offensive young quarterbacks or established quarterbacks with weapons. And I don't think there's going to be a guy that's going to slide to the end of the second round that's going to be worth our time, unless it's David Bell from Purdue, which I highly doubt he'll be there at that point. But if David Bell's there, then I think it's somebody the 49ers have to consider. Or if it's Sky Moore, that's somebody that they have to consider. Trey Lance's old college teammate will not be around at that time. But if he is, then by all means, then I think we should take a look at him and Christian Watkins, but we'll see.
I feel you, man. Hey, man, you heard it here first. You heard what B was talking about, man. You heard it here first, man. Hey,
I definitely want to do a draft breakdown show with somebody out there in 49ers community. So definitely, I've been looking at a few prospects, but it's none of the guys that we'll get. Like I'm positive of that we're not getting anybody who I've scouted. Like it's just not going to happen. I already know. So, but we'll see. We will see. And what else you want to hit on, man? It's been a minute since we've talked, man. We talked a little bit about the Jimmy G.
Bro, hey, I'm ready to end this day, bro. I want to holler at my cousin though.
Okay. All right, for sure. We'll tap in. All right. Well, on that note, we appreciate y'all for tapping in with us. Appreciate the love. And y'all need to make sure y'all follow us at 49x365. That's the Twitter account. That's the account where you get all the updates, man. We definitely gonna be going on Tuesday nights. I know it's Wednesday right now. We had to move things around a little bit. I've been on the move, man. I've been on the run. I've been on the go. But we back at it because it's 49-365. It's all Niners all day. It's positive energy and good vibes. Like I always say, my name is Biamechi, and as always, I'm with JB.
Hey, faithful, we out. Stand up, baby.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor to be on the Tonight Show.
This is the 49